So Vijay, yeah, can you see my screen now?
I think you have recursion.
Yeah. I don't know why.
It's a mirror, so right? That's a mirror effect.
Yeah, mirror. Is that okay now?
Looks good to me.
Okay. So shall we start now?
I think Vijay said he's checking his video, right? Maybe we need to wait 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think we need to wait for our AD, Martin and Zahid.
Where's the bug to have this recursion? It's so interesting, right? It goes to infinity and beyond.
Yeah, I see this before, but I don't know how to fix this.
Cool.
Maybe we get started now.
Sounds good.
Yes, it's time.
Okay, let's get started. Yeah. So this is so I can see my echo. What happened? Anyone can mute? Okay, let me check. Is that better now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Continue.
Okay, great. Okay, let's get started. So this is an auto working group meeting. So welcome to join our session. So my name is Qin Wu. I'm a co-chair of this auto working group, and Yan and Vijay also online. Actually, will host this meeting. And so first, the Noteware apply, and probably you already familiar with Noteware. And for any contribution, including Jabber discussion, media echo, chat room discussion, presentation, and comments will deem as a contribution. And if you have any IPR, please to disclose it according to IETF IPR rules. So more details, please refer to this BCP.
Or a message from Jabber, and they ask if you can make it full screen.
Okay.
Sorry.
While Chin is doing that, thanks to Richard and Sabine, and I believe there was Daniel King for taking the meeting notes and Richard for monitoring Jabber.
Yeah.
Right. Great.
Okay, so same as before, we will use the media echo actually to do the queue control. If you have any comments, please enter the button for the queue control, and we can let you speak. Before you speak, please identify yourself, speak your name. And we also have virtual blue sheet, and it will automatically record your attendance. And so this is a meeting agenda we propose for today's discussion. And actually, the main goal is focused on recharter discussion. And before we get the discussion, I think we will have a short introduction for the working group status, and also we will, give you a briefly update for auto implementation and deployment we connect from the working group members. And for auto recharter discussion, I think for me the discussion is I will lead the discussion to introduce the charter, new goal and scope, and we will list the proposed work item and related use cases and associated product extension. And then for the charter use case discussion, actually, I will ask the proponents actually to champion the use case discussion for each use case discussion, I will give you 5 minutes because time is very limited. So please keep the time, and then we will get back to the charter proposal discussion and open floor to open discussion to the floor. And so any agenda, Bash? So it seems none. So let's move to the document update actually. So Vijay, do you want to introduce this? Actually, I think you already sent the document update to the list. To save the time, maybe we can have a short, briefly summary about this.
Yeah. So if you please go to the next slide. So unified props and path vector, I did the review and the Shepherd write-up is done. There's been new revisions, so I need to just check the revisions and then send it off to IESG. Next slide, please. Jan is working on performance metrics. The IPR check for that is done. He'll attend to the Shepherd write-up, and I believe the draft will move on to to IESG after that. Next slide, please.
Just quickly, Vijay, just quickly, since I'm here, I can maybe say briefly, this is done. It's just on my table. So as you said, the Shepherd write-up, it's already done. I just need to upload it and send it out. So please, everybody, consider it done. I just need to do it.
Right.
Okay, thank you for confirmation. Yeah.
Next slide, please. And this draft is pretty mature, so this is also, it's pretty much done. I need to put the Shepherd write-up out, and it's been socialized with CDNI. So we are all set on these drafts. The first two drafts, path vector and unified props and CDNI request are going to move together as a cluster. The first unified props basically has the other two drafts have a dependency on unified props, so all of these will move together as a cluster. I think if you have any further discussion on this, let's take it to the list in the interest of time, so we can move ahead.
Okay, Vijay, thank you for the update. So let's move to the next agenda item. For updated auto implementation and deployment, actually we connect from the working group member. Actually, we listed several auto implementation. The first one is from Benelux. Actually, they really deploy auto protocol in their CDN networker, and key component is flow director, and they use auto protocol to optimize the CDN content delivery. And also they actually discuss their key work actually in the CONNEX conference meeting, also presented in IETF and RTF get a good prize. So the second auto implementation, actually this is really a POC actually from China Mobile and Tencent, and they really want to use auto protocol to expose the mobile and wireless information to help to improve the user experience of cloud gaming application. So their QoE POC actually test has been conducted. And for implementation from Spring and T-Mobile, they claim to support already deployed the auto in their CTN network. I haven't get detailed information for some reason. And another one is from Telefonica. Actually, he is a telco CDN provider, and right now they actually try to integrate overlay and underlay and expose capability and status from the underlay, and they can use this information to optimize the CDN networker. So they already plan to move to the production in the second half of this year. Also, we have Unicom open source. Actually, this is led by Yale University research team, and it has all been open sourced. It focuses on multi-domain, multi-controller resource orchestration, and they can provide the service discovery and the resource discovery in their implementation. Also, they implement it in the Open Daylight platform. And also we list the two vendor implementation, which maybe is outdated, but we show this as an example. Actually, Cisco actually use auto in their network position system information exposure. For Juniper, actually, they leverage auto to locate the best copy of content for the end user. So any comments for these slides? So if not, so I will move to the recharter discussion. Actually, a quick update actually for recharter item discussion. Actually,
And sorry, just one quick comment regarding the last slides. We did have many presentations on these implementations over the years. So if people are interested, they can maybe also review the presentations we had at previous ALTO meetings. What you say with your summary is absolutely correct, but just for people who have a deeper interest, we had presentations from some of these operators in the past.
I think Martin, sorry, Martin, you're in the queue.
Yes, thanks. One question about this slide. So the first one says deployment number. There are 2 machines. So is this so? What is a deployment versus a research project? I gather that the Sprint thing is probably a deployment, but the Benox thing, I mean, that looks like a study to me if I'm getting what or proof of concept of some kind, if I'm understanding the bullets there.
Yeah, Martin, maybe there's some misunderstanding actually. I just referenced their paper, but for Benox, they really deploy this the auto in their CTN network. They already have products, and actually I should list a website for their work here. But yeah,
okay.
Here the data we show just the paper they published. They list they have some experiment for this.
Great. So Sprint and Benox are deployments, and Telefonica, I gather, is soon going to be a deployment. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Did we lose something?
Looks like.
Looks like it, yes.
Chin? I think we lost him.
I think we lost everybody.
There is 3 or 4 of us around.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
I'm here.
I can hear.
It's beginning to sound like survival of the fittest.
Yeah, Diego, you're here. I'm here. So only Qing. Oh, Qing's back. I think he's back.
Oh, there's Chin here. There he is.
Yeah, maybe I have a problem to share my desktop. Maybe Vijay or Yan, can you run slides?
Well,
Sure, I can share.
Oh, read it. Yeah, great.
Are you guys seeing 2 screens or are you seeing 1 screen?
Just 1 screen.
Okay, so this is okay. What is being displayed?
Yeah.
Vijay, I think what I see is you have this very big screen. The slide's only on the right-hand side on me.
So that's because, let me take out my second monitor.
I think it is 2 screens.
Yeah, 2 screens. Otherwise, you have a huge menu.
Now you should see 1 screen and.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Better now.
All right. So just tell me, and I can go to the next slide whenever you're ready.
Next. Yeah. Next page. Next. Yeah. For recharter discussion, actually, we go back one. can you go back? Yeah. For this, we actually boil down the four proposed work item, and actually we reached a lot of agreement for this proposed work item. So after IETF 109, actually we began to document the recharter scope and spend time to discuss the open issue related to the work item. And we come up with the first version of the recharter text, and at the end of the last year, and sent to the area director and our co-chair for review, and also to facilitate the recharge discussion, we plan this meeting. So the goal is to build a consensus for the charter item. Next. So where we are actually for auto working group in the past decades, we already deliver auto base protocol, and we successfully published the auto deployment RFC and also service discovery. And we actually auto is designed for the P2P application and setting application. In addition, actually we work on some auto extension like multi-cost and cost calendar, which allow to convey multiple cost value in a single message or time-dependent cost value in a single message. So for path vector and cost performance metric setting I, and we also close to the end. So what's the next step of auto working group? So where do we head toward? Actually, we think for the current auto protocol, actually, especially for auto deployment, they haven't integrated some new protocol extension we work on in the auto working group. So how this auto deployment integrate the many new protocol extension feature and in the deployment. So this is an issue we need to investigate. In addition, we think in the original auto protocol is very limited for the single administrative domain. So, but we also see many applications actually they need multi-domain support. So we think actually multi-domain setting is the issue we really want to solve. And for also we actually see many new application, new scenario like SD1 scenario and edge computing scenario. And also we have a new scenario from the China Mobile and Tencent, the cloud gaming use cases. So they really want to introduce some new mechanism like a pop-up mechanism. They want to migrate from HTTP 1 to HTTP 2. And so also for some use cases from the 1040 car, we really want to integrate overlay and underlay. So we really want to automate the operation. So so this is so we set a new goal, focus on these several list bullet. Next. So discuss with our auto design team, we come up with 5 proposed charter item. For the first item, protocol extension for policy attribute, we have listed 2 use cases. One is rate adaptation for cloud gaming, which is from China Mobile and Tencent. We have another cellular network information exposure from Nokia, and for proposed product extension, actually this really need extension to the property and custom service. And also we need to introduce a new property metric for queues profile. And so China Mobile and Tencent will give a detailed discussion for their proposed use case and product extension. Second one is Papa Sub. We think we already have a lot of discussion on the list. We think we should, support HTTP 2 to HTTP 3 and introduce more fine granularity PubSub for the auto. And the item 3 is auto data model, and this is the missing part. We think we actually need to configure auto client and a server, especially for the auto server. And also we need to provide a performance monitoring for the auto server and auto client. So data model young data model is needed for this. And item 4, multi-domain setting support, we actually list 3 use cases such as multi-domain resource orchestration, hierarchical service function chain in the distributed data center network. This actually has been proposed by Charlie Telecom on the list. And also we have multi-domain SD-WAN edge discovery, and they require multi-domain support. The last one is operation automation, and main use case is overlay and underlay integration, which is proposed by Telefonica. And we also, as we mentioned, actually auto deployment need to be enhanced, and we need to think how to upgrade network information combined with computer information. So we also introduce related protocol extension here. So this is a summary. And any comments? So if not, I think we can move to the use case discussion. So first we'll ask Charlie Telecom and Tesson to join and present the first use cases, rate adaptation for cloud gaming.
Do you? Okay,
Yeah.
this is the right slide.
We can. Yes. Go back one page. Chun-san, can you present this use case?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. It's related work on 3BP 5G. They propose the alternative queues profile and then notification control for the adaptive application. You can see in the figure the application in the step 1 and 2 they can provide a QoS reference. For example, the bit rate, latency, parity, and optionally they can provide alternative QoS requirements. Means that if they can provide a different level QoS requirement, that means they obtain one or more QoS reference parameter in a parallelized order. This QoS profile in the step 3 and 4 are provided from the core network to the 5G video network site in a prioritized order. So the RAN should always try to fulfill the QoS requirement. But if there's some problem, because lack of video resource, they will switch to the alternative QoS profile in the order of the priority. So if in such case, they will notify the support the alternative QoS profile in step 5, 6, 7, and 8 notify to the AF. So, but in a 5G, they avoid too frequent signaling to the notification. The 5G base station implemented some mechanism, for example, while a configurable time interval to prevent too frequently notification. Also, the network, for example, the PCF, should ensure that the QoS value in the alternative file are not too close to each other to reduce the frequency of the notification. So this is the main idea of the 5G, that how to, when the AF received the alternative QoS profile, then the AF will change his encoding scheme, that adaptive bit rate changes to prevent the congestion because in the UE side or the client side. So in such case, the adaptive change the bit rate along with the RAN notification. For example, the RAN said that I only can support 1 megahertz, then he change his bit rate below the 1 megahertz. If they even said, okay, I'm good, I can support 2 megahertz, then the AF maybe change his good codec, provide good quality of the video streaming, something like this. Any question before I switch to the next slide? Okay, so we can use the mechanism to support the cloud gaming server. In such case, the cloud gaming server is the Alto client. Then we can deploy the Alto server with the 5G NEF in a standalone or combined network function. So in such case, the applications, the cloud gaming server can provide different bit rates to the 5G network. For example, they can be 1080 and 720 resolution to the 5G network with different bit rate. So this work, we corresponding work items, work item 1, we need extend current protocol, Alto protocol to support this multiple QoS profile doing the subscription, and we need also extend work item 2, extend the new pub/sub mechanism that only one subscribe and public different values when the network event has tweaked. So the detailed proposed protocol extension is that define the Alto extension for pub/sub mechanism and allowed subscribe to the QoS profile changes. For example, different bit rate for different resolution, and receive notification if the QoS requirement cannot be supported or or changed. The second, we define new policy attribute in the Alto interface and allow the client to express the different QoS requirements, such as different performance objects like throughput, different latency, like different priority or different error rate. Example. Also, they can be defined some golden, silver, bronze standard profile, and also can be whether the notification can be real-time notification indication or not. Questions?
So Chunzhang, we should move to the next presentation.
Okay.
Given the time is very limited. Yeah. So
Okay.
Sabine, can you present the second use case? Sabine, go ahead.
Muted. You might click the Q link, not the microphone.
Yeah. So Sabine, you should click the microphone. Click the audio.
So while Sabine is trying to click the microphone, I would also remind others to mute their microphone. I think we're having a lot of background noise during the presentations. So please mute your mic if you're not the speaker currently. But Sabine, you are the speaker currently, so please unmute.
So while we're waiting for Sabine, I do see all these questions on Jabber. For example, comments from Martin and Amanda and so on. Just want to make sure, do I relay the questions or we wait a little bit?
I think we should wait a little bit. Take a question at the end.
Okay.
So maybe we can move to the next. Maybe Sabine has some problem to connect. The next use case is auto data model. Daru, can you present?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, everyone. I'll quickly present the Alto data model use case. This is pretty straightforward. If the device where we are implementing the Alto client and Alto servers, they already support Yang-based mechanisms for other purposes. Maybe we could use the Yang-based mechanisms for configuration, status monitoring, and all the other setups for our Alto client and Alto server as well. And we would like to produce a standard Yang model so that all the advantage of Yang based management can be utilized. So the scope wise, we would like to support both Alto client and Alto server, especially in case we are also now exploring multi domain case. So server to server communication would also be a key factor. So that will also influence how our Yang data model would look like. We have work to refer. One of them is the HTTP client server, which has been done in NetConf. And since Alto uses HTTP, this will be a very good reference for us to build on. It's not just configuration. I think the operational status and the monitoring part would be very, very useful. The other use case that you will hear today also talk about operational stuff, where a Yang based mechanism, which I think IETF has been working, and we have the expertise on this, can also be utilized for Alto protocol. So the work item would basically require us to explore and come up with the right framework for what should be the data model design, and the final output would be the Yang data model for both client and server. That's it from my side. I think at the end, if there are any questions, I'm here. We can take. I'm done. Thank you.
True. Yeah. Let's move to the next presentation, multi-domain setting. Richard, floor is yours. Richard.
Talking to the mute microphone. Okay, sorry about that. So multi-domain actually is quite important even from the very beginning, and because we know the internet essentially, of course, auto deployment case is multi-domains, and the clients, the resources, they all deployed and at all these multi-domains. So therefore, that's even the objective from beginning. Of course, in early stage, we're focusing mostly on single domain, and because it's cleaner, and of course, we can imagine that the single domain server is representing all these multi-domains. And so therefore, for the current multi-domain, and so what we really want to do, and would be very simple, would be, if you look at the extensions of what we want to do is, number one is to multi-domain auto server discovery. We do have a very nice work done by, for example, Sebastian already have the server discovery, and now I think number one thing we want to do clearly and would be go to the case of multiple server, auto servers in multi-domain, and here trust relationship privacy actually would be a major issue. So therefore, that's really the first item we think we should get done. And the second one, of course, is we want to really do this auto server communications for network information and computing information exchanges, and the basis still, of course, is in the multi-domain setting. And number three, probably that's really most important. What I think would be, we want to really discover. Of course, we have BGP, but the BGP is not really fully application domain. So the signaling through BGP probably is very difficult and so on. So what's really happening in this moment is we want essentially is extend auto and to allow the discovery of multi-domain connectivity, and with all these kind of messagings and who connects to whom. And so therefore, then we can build this essentially whole trust relationship. That's all. And of course, there already did quite a lot of use cases, and there are quite a lot of documents, and I'll be more than happy to go to details in later. I'm done.
Okay.
Hello.
Thanks, Richard. Okay, Sabine, so you come back.
Yeah, hello. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I did not grant
Let's move
permission.
back to your use cases. Yeah. Use case 2.
Yeah, so this relates to, oh, sorry. So this relates to the, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this relates to the use case that was exposed by Chun Chen. So this is another example where this time the decision is UE-centric. So in this use case, the user equipment receives information from two different independent channels. One is directly from the RAN, so it receives like real-time indications that are reflecting more or less the cell load. Okay, and this is to help out deciding whether shall I connect now or which cell shall I connect to. And on the other hand, from the Alto client, it receives like longer term information on like cell KPIs, for example. So this is non-real-time information. And of course, given that the Alto cannot provide like real-time information, the protocol extension would help out in that the Alto information would be modulated with respect to values from that indicator I received, and say, okay, if value of A is V1, V2, V3, cost is or property is P1, P2, P3, and then the Auto client in the UE has this longer term information, and when it needs to take a real time decision, it just fetches the indicator and fetches the appropriate Auto value that is modulated with respect to the value of indicator E. So that helps to take like real-time decisions based on non-real-time information modulated by real-time indicators. And another thing that this type of protocol extension would help out is, for example, for the moment, cellular a cell is a PID, and because it would, for example, give indication the cost in the uplink or the downlink direction, which is not possible right now if you are in a PID one to itself cost. Okay, that's it.
Okay, thanks, Sabine. So Martin, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I have a question. So this real-time indicator, is that being standardized elsewhere?
No, because there are several examples of real-time indicator. So the indicator that is used as an example in this use case is actually from the LTE network release 13, I guess. And the example that was taken was UDI. That tells you whether unattended data is allowed or not. And the idea was that if it's allowed, it means that the cell load is not so bad. If it's not allowed, it means that the cell load is bad. So depending on this value, your cost, your Alto server says, okay, depending on this value, cost is V1 or V2. And then you can, the UE, when it needs to take a decision, just figures out, just fetches that indicator and says, okay, cost is this value and I take this decision. But this is one example, and there are several such examples of indicators that you fetch directly from the network, and that gives you a clue of what of whether the cell is loaded or not, or whether the KPI that reflects some KPIs on the network that you cannot.
Yeah, so I think I intuitively can grasp the value of these real-time indicators. I'm just, and we can do this here, maybe on the list or something, but I have trouble. I would like to understand the positioning of Alto relative to this, and if there are some emerging standards in this real-time indicator area, and where the proponents of those standards feel the need for an Alto-like service or not. Because I mean, if 3GP is out doing this stuff and they like have it under control, or like each operator has their own stuff and they're just running proprietary software where the UEs know what to do. It's not clear to me what the use case for Alto is there. But like I said, I know we're short on time, so you may not be able to respond fully. Thanks.
Just very quickly, maybe I was not clear enough. That indicator that you get from the 3GPP, so that example is standardized, and I am not saying that this should be provided by the Alto. That's actually the trick. The UE gets this time of indication directly from the network on its own.
Okay, so Sabine, thank you for clarification. So Richard, do you have any follow-up?
So I think I like the comment made by Martin. So basically, the way I understand this one is the indicator should be a total separate channel. And part of Auto, if we define a total orthogonal 3GPP, even in the worst, even in some extreme case, you can think about the IP layer of ECN as some kind of indicator, right? ECN condition bit or not condition bit. And then you read all the information. My understanding of Martin's suggestion or request is to get very clear use cases. Is that right? So therefore, and you are not really like suggesting that we should define this one. Clearly, this can come from multiple different channels and different settings. You just need use cases. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think that question is directed to me. So I understand the scope of Alto is not the actual indicator itself. I'm a little unclear what the value add for Alto is, but more fundamentally, I would like to know if the people who are running these real-time indicators actually need a service from Alto. And if it's being standard in some other sort of body, it would be great to get a liaison statement from 3GPP or whoever saying, yes, we really love Alto to do X, Y, and Z. Because this smells to me like something a little speculative. Well, I don't know the background, but like this, from what I've heard, I see no reason to believe that this is anything other than Alto people looking for new applications without really having a pull from the people who would use those applications.
The intent is not to help out 3GPP people with Alto. The intent is that if you have a device in a cellular network, and so this with your device you can get direct information from the 3GPP. But if you use an Alto client that is connected to your application, if you have an application client running into your UE, and this application client uses an Alto client to get larger scope information on the Alto client, you cannot, so the RAN cannot help you out beyond its scope, and the Alto cannot give you real-time information. So this allows to compose at the UE level, at Alto client level, you compose information that you gather on one side from the 3GPP and on the other side from Alto. And it's not meant to help out 3GPP. It's meant to help out more reactive Alto information with the help of real-time indicators.
Okay, Sabine, we actually run out of time. Actually, maybe.
Yeah, that's helpful. We'll take it to the list. I have more questions, but we don't need to talk about them now.
Okay, thank you. So the next use case is operation automation. Luis, can you?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I will go quick through this. So essentially here the goal would be to enhance or enable, even in some cases, the automation of the network operation, which is key for operators, as you can imagine. So the objective would be to integrate Alto either with other network entities that could be under the control of the same operator or even outside of the operator. This is something to to be analyzed according to the different use cases. And the objective of this integration would be to allow to take better decisions, trigger informed actions, assisting at the end the decisions that could be taken. There are 4 cases, let's say, or 4 scenarios. I will go quick through them, taking more time maybe in case 2 and 4, because probably this integration with other parts is more intuitive. So in the first case, essentially, the idea would be to provide extensions to RFC 7971, leveraging on previous protocol extensions that have been performed in the ALTO working group, like Calendar or Path Vendor, or path vector, sorry, or unified properties. So essentially, to revisit all those extensions and to see what could be the appropriate protocol, appropriate extensions to ALTO protocol for doing or helping on this direction of operation automation. Regarding the second case, the idea would be to use ALTO combined with other entities, let's say, in order to have an integration, a combination, let's say, of the selection between compute environments and network environments. By now, I'm looking for sure to this initiative of edge computing, and so now the decisions of selecting an edge environment are somehow decoupled of the situation of the network. So having this combination could assist on having a better decision, taking into consideration all the situation of the network, the status, and so complementing both approaches. And for that would be necessary to integrate, to extend, let's say, the ALTO in order to have the compute details. Here in the slide, you can see an example what is being done in the CNTT or GSMA. It's a common initiative between Linux Foundation and GSMA. So this is becoming somehow standard. So the idea would be to take from this input and as an idea and work on the extensions in ALTO. Next, please. Next slide, please. Okay. So the third case would be essentially to consider extensions to ALTO for acting as an aggregator of information coming from different sources that are being developed are outcomes of IETF, and this could be the traffic engineering database, the LSP database, and so collecting all those information and making ALTO aggregating all of that for complementing, let's say, the information that can be provided nowadays. Here, there could be some sub-use cases. I will not go through them, but essentially with this information, we could have a more completed information of the status and the situation of the network. And the final case, the final situation would be to assist and to help on this integration between the overlays and the underlays. Here in this slide, you can see the example of the CDN, but there will be other cases, SD1 or 3GPP, and so I put here essentially the CDN case because it's something that we are doing now in progress in Telefonica, and the idea is to integrate ALTO with the CDN logic in such a way that we on first hand, we can collect automatically all the topology, and as a second step, we can improve the delivery of the CDN, having an informed view of the network in each case. So this would be essentially the topic about operation automation. So if you have questions, maybe we can cover now or later.
Okay.
So that's all from my side, Chin.
Yeah, thanks, Luis. Yeah, I think we completed the discussion for all the use cases and move to the charter proposal. Vijay, can you move to the next? Actually, this is our document, the charter proposal, and so for the 5 work item, we actually document this in this charter proposal, and we will, design alter for some new application like a cloud-based application and SD1 application, distributed computer application. So we will open the discussion to the floor for this charter proposal, and any input and feedback are welcome.
Does silence mean that the proposal is accepted, or there's no acceptance on the proposal? It's a long time
the
to be
China
silent.
proposal has been posted, to the list. Actually, we maybe we don't give people time to review this charter proposal.
Yes, but we should not, not everybody should read it now. It was posted on the list, so we should use the time for discussion, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, we do. Okay. Yeah, I'm waiting. I think me and Martin are waiting. So my only suggestion, one suggestion at the moment is I found the word of PubSub to be a little bit potentially confusing in the charter. Why so? And PubSub, the meaning is so not well defined in some sense, right? And at the very beginning, when I say PubSub, and email, I would think about like a message queue. For example, Kafka and RabbitMQ, you name, and all kinds of very different mechanisms. And you have a mechanism, essentially, we introduce this thing, and then auto servers and auto clients essentially can PubSub into the system, essentially become information broker, and we design this way. That one potential, we can design that one, but if you look at it carefully, like for example, Trench and Tencent design and so on, they are not really PubSub in that sense. This is PubSub more like, for example, I probably would say a little bit more like if I may, and given I probably could use your model, but if I'm using, for example, gRPC, for example, the Google model, that's essentially like a streaming of requests and streaming of reply. And then of course you have conditions. So therefore, this continuous process. So therefore, my suggestion would be, if possible, clarify the term or maybe find another term of PubSub in the charter. That's all.
Okay. So next, Martin.
Yeah, thanks for the presentations and the work everyone put into this. I think you've answered a lot of the concerns I've raised, and I probably need to spend some time for the next few months really engaging this on a more detailed level. But I have some high-level comments. First of all, like my sense is that I mean, Alto is a request response-based protocol, and this PubSub thing is like almost the whole, or I mean, whether or not it's actually PubSub per se, this kind of push-based paradigm seems like almost a different protocol. So that's a significant reorientation of what the group is doing, and I'm not saying it's impossible to do that, but I think we need to do that carefully. Second issue is, I think with these use cases, I would kind of characterize them in two different ways. One is just sort of protocol maintenance stuff, making it easier to deploy, additional information fields, or upgrading it to H2 or H3, and that seems pretty straightforward where we could continue. But there's also, I mean, I'm sensing a lot of desire to have much more time-sensitive data get channeled through this, and I'm skeptical, and this like network feedback thing is something that keeps coming up in IETF and things like Plus, and like it keeps with a lot of people being thrown at these problems who are very experienced in this area, and it keeps not working out. And I'm very hesitant to have this group, which doesn't have a ton of people in it, frankly, to try to tackle this problem that has failed so often at IETF. Two more things. Number one, for a lot of these things, I mean, typically when we charter work, there are already some individual drafts around. And I don't know if individual drafts are just expired, so I'm not seeing them, but I'm not seeing a lot of things written down that correspond to these, at least in the document pile right now, and that makes it a little harder to understand what exactly is being proposed. Which charters should not refer to specific drafts, but it is quite useful to illustrate what is meant by a lot of this work, and they will get tied to milestones eventually. And then my final point, which is unrelated, is that I continue to be a little hazy on the deployment status of this stuff. We found out in Jabber today that Sprint has actually not deployed this, so I believe that my understanding of this right now is we have Deutsche Telekom and then Telefonica in the future. And I am a little concerned about getting ahead of, actually not, I'm actually quite concerned about getting ahead of needs being driven by deployment experience. I mean, Alto has been around for a while now. If there are things we need to do, like maybe the manageability stuff that are meant to overcome the obstacles of deployment, then absolutely we should work on that. But I am a little concerned we're veering into research project territory when we haven't demonstrated the need for anything based on deployment experience, because the deployments by and large don't exist. That's it. Thanks.
Okay, Connie.
Hear me?
Hello, Connie. We can hear you.
Hear me? Okay. I just want to say something about the PubSub, right? From my understanding, PubSub, I think, is another way to obtain the network information compared with the request response. But I believe that compared with the request response, PubSub is more efficient because in many scenarios, I think only one subscription is needed, right? But if we use a request response, maybe every time you have to use a request. And in addition, I think the PubSub is helpful, right, to reduce the synchrony overhead, because the PubSub is event triggered, right? Only some condition is satisfied, the notification can be triggered. So I think by extending the PubSub, so I believe the auto would be make it more useful to more scenarios. That's my understanding. Thanks.
Well, we have a limited.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't see if there's a queue, but we have a limited PubSub in the form of server-side events. So, I don't mean to focus on PubSub only, but I think we need to have a value proposition that what are the gaps that server-side events SSE doesn't fulfill that we need a PubSub for.
Yeah, Vijay, I agree actually. This is something we discussed on the list. We actually really want to provide fine granularity for PubSub. Also, we discuss whether we need to support new transporter and leverage HTTP 2 and HTTP 3 new feature. So so Richard, do you have any comments?
Oh, okay. I thought I'm waiting behind Luis. So Luis.
Okay, Luis.
Yeah, Luis,
Luis first.
Okay, thank you. No, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Just to comment. Okay, just to comment that if I'm not wrong, there are supportive documents for all the use cases. The point is that during the last, I think that in the past IETF and also this, we concentrated in finishing the pending documents from the previous charter. But I would say that we have an individual draft for each of the use cases. Maybe in some use case, there is just one single document for more than one use case. But just to comment this point, so maybe we can highlight this, and maybe in the mailing list associate the work items with the draft. Existing or expired, but there are documents supporting them.
Yeah, thanks, Luis, for clarification. Yeah, you're right. We already have a lot of existing individual drafts. So for this discussion, we just summarize the key point and product extension and related use cases. So definitely we can revive all these individual drafts to have document a clear scope and yeah.
Right. So, okay, and I think we're running out of time. I do want to echo. Number one, we do have quite a lot of drafts, and then somehow people got this group of people got the impression that we shouldn't work on the draft. We should first focus on the text. So therefore, all these documents just expired. So I think definitely the clear lesson we learned is we should start to maintain and start to update all the drafts. That's number one. And number two, I do buy actually. I think one issue, one comment I want to make to address one comment made by Martin is about his deployment, and I do agree that there are some deployments, and one issue is the deployment is not as fast as we did. And even for this one, actually, we had a very, very good conversation with Ingmar. I don't know if Ingmar is online or not here. He probably is not. And so because Bannock is running over the line, one of the largest deployment. And so therefore, the question over there, of course, we encounter all the issues, people using BGP as a way, and then global one. So therefore, there's actually we start to have this kind of major effort to really organize all the CDN operators and to organize network operators to all start to really exchange information, to talk about how to get deployment easier and so on, and get more wider deployment. So that's an issue which we start to really address. And so therefore, to answer a little bit the comment made by Martin, of course, there's still a long way to go. I think we're trying to push forward. And for example, one comment made by Ingmar was, essentially like IPv6, you need a wide deployment. So therefore, essentially there's a little bit chicken egg problem. And for some applications, and you need this all these auto servers, for example. I think comment made by Ingmar was, and you need more network to really provide all the information. And then, of course, if you don't have a network providing information, then application may not be interested or may not deploy and so on. It's slightly chicken egg problem. So I think we are trying to do this effort, and we're actually even to try to seek some help from IETF. For example, we're co-chairing this SIGCOMM NI workshop and so on. So we're trying to even get all these people together and to talk about how to deploy this type of things. Yep, I'm done. I think we're around the time.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, we run out of time. Yeah. So, Martin, do you have any last
words?
So
this is Jan. So the question is, how do we wrap up, Martin? How do we? I mean, the questions you raised are probably ones that we need to take offline with the ISG or something, right? I mean,
well, I mean, we're not. We're not at the point. I'm sorry, we're not at the point of going to the ISG yet, in my view.
Okay.
I think I mean Zahed's my co-AD is here too. We'll probably talk about this a little bit. I mean, I think I need to engage in a discussion with some of the proponents. I can see a number of ways to proceed here. There are things that I would be fairly comfortable with approving right now, and there's some things that would require a lot of persuasion. I think if what Richard alluded to, where there are just like gaps in the current Alto thing that are preventing wider deployment of this thing, I think those should be a pretty high priority. I'd be very comfortable approving those. You know, both I and Mira before me have I think expressed concern with some of the real-time trends that are developing. I mean, I certainly understand the desire for lots of network feedback to the endpoints. This is again, a long-standing theme in IETF. I just think it's also unlikely to be successful, quite frankly. So, you know, those are the different extremes here. And I don't know if we have to have an interim, or we just need to have an informal conversation or side meeting or something to work through this. And I should also confer with Zahed about this and see what he thinks offline. So we'll do that. And yeah, I think once the two of us are comfortable with it, then I think we go to ISG.
Okay. So that's our wrap up, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I mean, everybody, we always have the mailing list for further questions or discussions, right? I mean, not everything has to happen here during this meeting. I just wanted to reiterate that. But I think we had a good presentation on the current proposals and on the current charter and how they all relate. And we have comments from our area director, who is basically our manager for rechartering, right, Martin? I don't want to dump this on you, but you are the
No. As I said earlier, I do need to engage with this a little more. I mean, I think this has been a useful process to figure out what the group is interested in, and you know, I think you guys have tried hard to respond to a lot of my initial guidance, and now you need to really engage so we can sort of negotiate a contract for the next stage of this group.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Vijay, you are still online.
Yeah, I am trying to figure out how to log off without closing the browser tab.
We should have a party, right? Oh, we're still recording. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that.
Technology is good when you can
Yeah.
figure out how to work. Leave the room. Here we go. All right, Richard. See you later. Hopefully, we'll meet in person sometimes.
Yeah, hopefully. You also have this infinity loop. Interesting.
Pardon?
So bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Goodbye.